did you feel about Katt Williams and what happened, and the fact that he only wait, first he didn't mention you.
Oh, thank goodness, right?
No,
Man,
that's good for you.
That's great.
You know what's so funny?
Doing
They said the show wasn't even selling prior to that.
Okay.
To that interview, and they said that next day he got over 3,000 people bought his ticket to his next showing. I don't know if that's true or not true, but I just when I watched it, I just felt like he was just pulling us down. It didn't really do anything. I don't know how you felt about it, and you're in this industry.
Well, I will say every interaction I've had with Katt Williams, he's been the nicest guy in the world to me. I will say that it didn't feel as though he was only pulling black people down, because he definitely mentioned Harvey Weinstein trying to top him off for the role. But also, when he mentioned a lot of these comedians, it was in response to the questions he was asked about certain comedians and the joke stealing and how he felt about Steve and Sid, and then he went on a tirade, and it was like, all right, well, this is how he's been meaning to say a lot of this for a long time. For me personally, watching it, I never like seeing comedians attack each other if they haven't had a conversation first, right? Like, I am a man. If I have a problem with another man, I like to speak to them personally.
Right.
Now, regardless of however we resolve that, if we resolved it, great. I'll happily talk about it on a podcast. Be like, yo, we talked, we're good, but joke. If we have not spoken, I'm just not a publicly disrespectful person to someone if we haven't had a conversation to resolve or otherwise. Even if y'all didn't resolve it, it's even funnier for you to talk about a person because y'all haven't resolved it.
Do you feel like other comedians steal jokes?
Yeah.
But to me, I always felt like people can have the same idea or do something. Or is reviving a joke in your style considered stealing? I don't know.
Well, the wording on that is crazy. Reviving a joke.
I don't know how to say it better. I don't know how to say it better.
Here's what I'll say. The problem isn't just comedians stealing people's jokes. That happens, yes. However, what the general population doesn't realize is just because a person has a similar joke does not mean that they stole it, right? So if you have, I'll give you an example. When Barack was first elected president, the joke that everybody said, I never did political jokes, but a joke that I heard a lot of people say was, hey, yeah, you know, Barack lips black. He's smoking weed, y'all. He got them black lips. Or y'all notice how when he got to the beginning of the office, he looked like Will Smith. Now he looked like Morgan Freeman. Like a lot of it becomes a stock joke, but somebody started that joke originally, and that makes it their joke. Just because a lot of more people say it and becomes a stock joke doesn't mean that it's not stealing. However, if people are talking about Barack and they get to a similar punchline about how old he looks now or how his lips are black, that is not stealing a joke. It's just not a creative joke. And I think a lot of people online see a comedian do a joke and they hear another comedian do a joke that has a similar topic, and they say, oh, that's stealing. You're like, that's not what stealing is. And this is the most disrespectful thing to call a comedian, is a joke thief. But yes, there are some comedians that will blatantly take another comedian's joke. That happens. But majority, Comic View used to show it, where Comic View would have, if you were a comedian who had a joke about gas, and you're like, man, this gas is high, and they would group like 10 comedians' clips together that were talking about high gas prices. Under that logic from the general population, it would seem as though everybody's stealing jokes, but they're not. They just have these topical, easy to come up withable jokes.
Oh, okay.
Have you had a situation where somebody stole your joke?
Yeah, man. It's been a couple of specials that I've seen where a comedian has touched on a lot of things that I've touched on, and it's like, but I'm the guy that if I see a joke of mine or similar to mine, I'm like, I gotta throw it away now because this person is saying it and he's way more famous than me. Nobody's gonna believe me. Let me just keep writing. But yeah, it's happened. And you just move on.
Did you ever address any of them?
By the time I saw it, it's already in special form. So it's like I've already lost by bringing it up. And even more so when comedians bring it up and you harp on it, like, hey, that's my joke. This person, this. It's like, yo, you're kind of showing that you can't come up with anything new. Yes, it's yours, but are we still going to be doing this joke 20 years from now? Come on, man. Like, just write something else. Keep it moving. Or the way I would approach it is go to the guy and be like, hey, man, I actually have a similar joke that you did on your special. I was thinking, because we think similarly, dude, we could just write together. I could be one of your writers and you pay me. Flip it. Like, don't come from a combative stance. Come from a stance of let's work together, or do you need help?
I like that.